My name is Adrianna, and I will be talking about the chain rule today. So, what is a chain rule? Well, the chain rule is another way of finding the derivative of a function. Now, we need to know some steps before we start. The first step is that we need to take the derivative of what is known as a subfunction, and I will explain that momentarily. Next, we need to take the derivative of the whole function. Now, we have this example. F of x equals 2x minus 3 to the 5th power. What we're trying to find is f prime of x. The question is, what is it? Now, we have this function, and we're trying to find f prime. We already know how to take the derivative of something. What we need to do now is learn how to do it using a chain rule. And this is how we're going to do it. So, we have a subfunction. What is the subfunction? Well, that means the function that is inside parentheses. It's sub. It's inside. So, the subfunction in this case is 2x plus 3. Now, we need to find the derivative of this function, which in this case will be 2. Next, we have the whole function. The whole function is literally that. Whole function. Now, you see how it says x to the 5th equals 2x plus 3 to the 5th. Well, I'm going to show you a little rule, I guess you can say, as to why this is true. So, in the chain rule, what we do is we substitute x for the subfunction. So, in this case, subfunction is 2x plus 3. So, we're going to substitute x for that. So, when we're finding the derivative, we're going to find the derivative of x to the 5th, meaning it's going to be 5x to the 4th. Now, we have all this information. Now comes the fun part, putting it all together. So we have f prime of x. The first thing we do is put the derivative of the subfunction, which is 2. Next, we put the derivative of the whole function, which is 5x to the 4th. Now, here comes the easier part, I would say. Because now that we have what f prime is, we need to substitute back what x is substituting, which is the subfunction. So if you don't understand that, hopefully the next step you'll understand. So, we have 2 times 5, the same as above. And now instead of x, we have 2x, plus 3 to the 4th. Now you can see that x had substituted the subfunction. So, we're pretty much done right now. The next thing we have to do is simplify. So, simplifying, all we're going to do is 2 times 5. So, the derivative of f of x equals 2x plus 3 to the 5th is f prime of x equals 10 times 2x plus 3 to the 4th. Pretty easy, right? Well, let's try another problem. So, this is g of x, which equals 2x plus, x squared plus 2x plus 3 to the 8th. Now, once again, we're trying to find g prime. Yeah, we definitely need to find this out. So, we have this problem, and we're going to do the same thing as before. Let's do. Empty space. So, let's think about this for a second. think about before. I'm not going to write it out this time. I want us to think about this. So, the subfunction. What is the subfunction? It's what's inside the parentheses. So, what do we have to do first? We need to find the derivative of the subfunction, and then find the derivative of the whole function and plug everything in. So, what will it be? So the answer is g prime of x equals 2x plus 2 times 8 times x squared plus 2x plus 3. Now you can see in the first parentheses that is the derivative of the subfunction. And then we have 8 times x squared plus 2x plus 3 to the 7th. And that is the whole function derivative. Pretty easy, but of course it's going to be a little hard. So right now I'm going to give you some math jargon, meaning I'm going to give you what the formula actually is. Sounds fun. So what the chain rule is, well, more so says, is that the derivative of f of x equals the derivative of the inner function g of x multiplied by the derivative of the h function. You read that and I bet you're trying to figure out what I just said. Well, in actual math terms, variable terms, what I just said was f of x equals h times g of x. And what we're trying to look for is f prime of x, which equals g prime of x times h prime times g of x. Well, just so you know, we already did this. Everything we just did with the subfunction and the whole function is literally the exact same thing that this says. It might seem a little confusing, but trust me, it is the exact same thing. So let's try another problem. We have f of x equals 2x plus, I keep saying 2x, it's x squared plus 5x plus 3 to the 5th. What do we know? We know that g of x is x squared plus 5x plus 3. Remember, that's inside the parentheses. So what is that? It's a subfunction. Now we have h of x. H of x is x to the 5th. And what is h of x? It's the whole function, with x substituting the subfunction. Now remember, like I just said, g of x, substitute g of x for x. That spins. So, what's g prime? G prime is 2x plus 5. And h prime is 5x to the 4th. Now, this is what the math jargon, like I say, says. F prime of x equals g prime of x times h prime times g of x. So, putting everything we know into the problem, right? So it's f prime of x equals 2x plus 5 times 5x to the 4th. Now, isn't that pretty much what we did before? Or better yet, exactly what we did before? So, we have this 5x to the 4th. Now what do we have to do? We have to substitute back g of x. So, final answer is f prime of x equals 2x plus 5 times 5 times x squared plus 5x plus 3 to the 4th. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the chain rule.